Thank you CSRBOX, Bombing and team for organizing consistently for last 10 years to have this conversation. And thanks for bringing Sarkar Samaj, Bazaar, Sanchar together to see how we can come together, have the conversation and try to be the citizen focus instead of multiple other focus. तो लास्ट सेशन में हम यहाँ बैठे हुए थे और ये लगा कि सवाल जवाब ज़्यादा नहीं हो पाया. So our proposal is that we are not going to speak. You ask question, then we will see what to say. नहीं तो जनरली हम बोल के निकल जाते हैं, जनता को जो समझना होता है समझती है. So seriously, whatever question, and just a context before we maybe open for the question. Any idea which aspirational district? Please listen. और वो कॉर्नर में जो बातचीत कर रहे हैं, आई विल रिक्वेस्ट यू टू रेस्पेक्ट ऑल अदर हु आर सिटिंग हियर सो दैट दे कैन पे अटेंशन. Which aspirational districts in India are bigger than geography than Kerala? One district, but bigger than Kerala in geography. किसी को पता है? No? Okay. जी? गुजरात से है. गुजरात में 2 ही है एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट, नर्मदा एंड दाहोद, वो बड़ा नहीं है केरला से. ओके. एनी आइडिया विच एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट इफ यू वांट टू ट्रैवल, देयर इज नो ट्रेन, देयर इज नो एयर सर्विसेज, इट टेक्स अबाउट 9 to 12 hours बाय रोड. एनी आइडिया विच डिस्ट्रिक्ट इज दिस? बस्तर कह रहे हैं. और Kadak? Good attempt. There are many, but one in Nagaland. Kifri. और वो दीमापुर से जाना होता है. Imagine that if you have to travel, you're working in that district as a A&M or a teacher or a NGO or a CSR professional, and it takes 12 hours to reach there. Jaisalmer is the bigger than Kerala in geography. Imagine if you are in one of the block, doesn't matter Sarkar Samaj Bazaar, and you have to go to the block headquarter. Imagine the travel required. So we're talking about those places. 35 left-wing extremist districts, about 22 border districts where there are insurgencies. There is a district in Manipur, Chandel, from a block headquarter, district headquarter to the one of the block headquarter, it takes 8 to 9 hours. And if district administration has to go, there are a lot of protection required. There are about 35 block out of 192 in 25 aspirational districts of 7 states. UP, Bihar, MP, Assam. 35 blocks are flooded almost every year, and entire administration is busy just to manage the flood. We are talking about these districts. So, if India has to grow, and whatever aspiration you and I have to become developed country or become top 3 economy or become a country where quality of life improves, that's the conversation we are trying to have. तो आपके कुछ सवाल हैं तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. We have people here. Rema and Chetna have been doing amazing work in CSR. Why they are choosing to work in these places and taking the burden or lots of stress to be able to convince people internally that you have to go to these places and not work behind the factory. Or Kiran has been working for ages in CPSCs. He was in ONGC and now he was in the G20 part of C20. And amount of work he has been doing and the pain. Why did he take so much of pain? And Soumitra is the one who actually was in the Niti Aayog in initial days to shape this whole structure of aspirational district program with the development partner and many, many other innovative processes governance. So that's the background. If we really want India to be developed, these districts has around 16% population. Based on the last census, it may be around 20% now. right? Do you know how much of CSR spent are there? Any guess? 2%. And if you go further, Jharkhand, 19 districts are aspirational out of 24. Bihar has 13. Chhattisgarh has 10. Odisha has 10. So if you look at the east and northeast, वहाँ तो बहुत नगण्य है. So that's all I want to set the context. आपके कुछ सवाल होंगे तो please ask. I hope there are mics in the hall, if we can circulate. Any question? Yeah. और थोड़ा ब्रीफ में करेंगे, क्वेश्चन तो अच्छा रहेगा, नहीं तो फिर पैनल आप बन जाएंगे तो आपको इधर आना पड़ेगा, राइट? तो प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट टू बी ब्रीफ.
ओके, थैंक यू. मैं जहाँ से आ रहा हूँ, कंधमाल उड़ीसा से आ रहा हूँ. दैट इज ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट एंड लेफ्ट विंग्स है. लेकिन अभी मैं जो जिस सुनने में आया है एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट, बट नथिंग चेंज अकर, क्योंकि अभी जो आपका इंडेक्स पिरामल फाउंडेशन जाने के बाद हेल्थ और एजुकेशन में इंडेक्स में वाइज हो गया है, लेकिन कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं हो रहा है, कोई अनाउंसर है जो रेगुलरली बाकी गवर्नमेंट का प्रोग्राम 30 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में चल रहा है, वही कंधमाल हो रहा है. तो हाउ विल बी फोकस? अनदर क्वेश्चन इज नाउ ब्लॉक एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट इज आइडेंटिफाइड. So what way CSR will going to help to block aspirational district?
Sure, thank you. So बहुत कुछ बदला नहीं, इंडिकेटर दिख रहा है, एक बदल गया, बट जमीन पे नहीं दिख रहा है आपको. और दूसरा, there are 500 aspirational blocks selected in 329 districts. तो वहाँ पे क्या करने वाले हैं CSR? Okay, thank you. और कोई क्वेश्चन? एक यहाँ है, एक बीच में है. If you can give her as well. Yes sir, go ahead. If you could introduce briefly. आप ऐसे बोल दीजिए, आवाज आ जाता है.
ब्लॉक की बात आ गया, क्या ब्लॉक, जब अब ब्लॉक की बात कर रहे हैं तो आगे चल के क्या डिस्ट्रिक्ट एग्जिस्ट करेंगे?
आगे चल के डिस्ट्रिक्ट
एग्जिस्ट करेंगे एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट.
ओके,
एक तो वो हो गया. दूसरा चीज़ ये है कि ब्लॉक की हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो ब्लॉक का परिकल्पना क्या है, वो किस तरीके से वो आगे चल के काम करना चाह रहे हैं? पहले तो जितने भी PSUs है, सेंट्रल पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस के जो भी इंस्टीट्यूशंस थे या फिर कॉरपोरेट्स, वो चाहते थे कि एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट में काम करें. तो अब ब्लॉक की बात कर रहे हैं, ब्लॉक तो और नीचे तक आ गया, उसमें और भी उसका काफ़ी कुछ इन्वॉल्वमेंट भी बदलेगा. पहले डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल में था.
जी, तो सवाल क्या है?
सवाल ये था कि उसकी परिकल्पना क्या है, उसको कैसे हम आगे बढ़ेंगे उसमें.
जरूर, थैंक यू गणेश जी. कैन यू से देयर इन या
जब हम एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स की बात करते हैं, हमने प्रीवियसली देखा है कि डेवलपमेंट, जिसको हम यूनिवर्सल वे में एक सेट डेफिनेशन है, उसके हिसाब से जब हम डेवलपमेंट करते हैं तो ह्यूमन और डेवलपमेंट में काफ़ी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स रही हैं प्रीवियसली. तो आई वुड वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड, व्हेन वी आर स्पीकिंग ऑफ डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, हाउ आर यू डिफाइनिंग द डेवलपमेंट हियर? इज इट द यूनिवर्सल टर्म और यू आर contextualizing this development?
So thank you. You didn't introduce, but that's okay.
I'm Lovely Zokta and I'm working with the Brook India.
Okay.
We work for equine welfare, that is horses, donkeys and mules. We
Thank
also
you.
work in number of aspirational
Okay,
districts.
thank you. या पीछे में भी है, कई बार पीछे हम देखते नहीं है, वैसे ही पीछे रह गए डिस्ट्रिक्ट, इसलिए आगे तो दिख जाता है. लाइट है यहाँ पे बहुत. Can we go in the background please? Yeah.
Hi, I have a question to Soumitra. Generally, in this aspirational district, what are the plans for a government, especially in developing certain areas? See, you have defined the aspirational area for certain reason. These areas in these particular area need to be improved very fast. There is a common goal is there. But how you are aligning corporates to focus on those areas? Because every corporate have a different objective. They are going in a different path. But you defined as an aspirational district for a specific growth areas. how do you really align those corporates for those particular projects? Because, and my second question is, most of the projects are happening in either in West or South, which already enough people are doing. East, very few people are really focused on those areas. How do you really align with those people to bring to this? Most of the factories and
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
That's my question.
Thank you. Back एकदम पीछे में एक वहाँ पे hand raise कर रहे हैं. If you can give there.
Good morning, sir.
जी.
Good morning. Thank you. With my friend, same question I want to ask, but little extension. Right? When we want to work with the aspirational districts, we need continuous 3 years, 4 years projects. But if you come to the platform, the CSR is restricting for only one year or 1.5 year, 2 years. Only they have their own objectives or their rules and regulations. How we can look into that? What will be the next, the government or a CSRBOX can be imposed the better way to get it done with the better builds. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Last question in the corner, ताकि हम भी कुछ बोल लें. Right? नहीं तो speaker यहाँ पे बैठे रह जाएंगे फिर उस corner से, and then we have time, we'll again take question.
थैंक यू मनमोहन जी, थैंक यू. मैं करौली से आता हूँ. करौली राजस्थान में एक एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट है जी. मनमोहन जी, आपके कई ऑफिसर्स भी आके मिले हैं, एंड वी वर्क विद पिरामिल. तो मेरा क्वेश्चन जो है, जो भी आप पैनलिस्ट एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में काम करते हैं और मल्टीपल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में अगर आप काम करते हैं, तो कई बार मैंने देखा आप डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के साथ अच्छा काम करते हैं, उनकी मदद करते हैं, जबकि उनको मदद जरूरत नहीं है आपकी. आपको क्या करना चाहिए? वहाँ पर बहुत सारे छोटे छोटे एनजीओज हैं जो बेचारे इंग्लिश नहीं समझते. इधर भी आकर बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको इंग्लिश नहीं समझ में आती. तो आप लोग पिरामल, ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव लॉट ऑफ फंड्स, आपके अपने आप CSR है, उससे आप अपने लोगों की सैलरी पे कर लेते हैं और वो लोग काम कर रहे हैं. आपको जो काम करना चाहिए, ऐसी जो जितनी यहाँ पर कंपनीज आई हैं और बहुत सारी कंपनीज हैं जो फंड्स देती हैं, उनको ऐसे एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में बुलाएं और उनको बोले इधर काम करो, और वहाँ के एनजीओज का ड्यू डिलिजेंस करके आपको उनको फैसिलिटेट करना चाहिए फंडिंग के लिए. अभी हर कोई कंपनी, गुड़गांव में एक ही स्कूल में 10 कंपनी काम करती है, मैं भी उनको हेल्प करता हूँ. सो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट आप सबसे ये कि ये पॉइंट आपको कवर करना जरूरी है कि आपका काम एनजीओज, ग्रास रूट एनजीओज को फैसिलिटेट करके, आर यू डूइंग एनीथिंग लाइक दैट? थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू सो मच. ब्यूटीफुल क्वेश्चन. अभी दूसरे राउंड में ले लें क्वेश्चन, नहीं तो कलेक्ट हो जाएगा, फिर हमको शेयर नहीं करेंगे, देन अगेन यू विल बी अनहैप्पी.
Have the conversation in English because some we don't understand.
English. अब मैं हिंदी प्रदेश से आता हूँ, अंग्रेजी सीखने के चक्कर में हिंदी भी भूल गए, अंग्रेजी थोड़ी बहुत आती. We will try. We'll try that. Okay, thank you. Can we start please? Then we'll come. Yeah. Okay. Rema is requesting one more question.
Thank you, Rema. My name is Shabir Hussain. I am representing Water for People. We have worked with Rema very closely. Not me, BG, Vishudeep. So, I have a very direct question. Like the norms has come, and then suddenly all the corporates, they want to work in aspirational districts, aspirational blocks. But there's a lot of NGO who have been working in the places which is as bad as aspirational districts, or maybe worse than that. I mean, I can give you some names like Amravati. This is not an aspirational district, and we've been working in Amravati since 2017. It is as bad as aspirational districts, but the problem is suddenly this norms has come, and now all the corporates, they want to go. Why we cannot see the impacts? Why we are not thinking that we have to make an impact? Let it be not be an aspirational district. Let it not be the CSR norms, and say, okay, aap kaam kar rahe ho, aap kaam continue karo, till time you feel that the work is over. So my question is like, can we really not see aspirational district, but we see the sufferings, the real suffering. Instead of saying that, chalo aspirational district mein kaam karte because government bol rahi hai, but I differ. I said, let's work in a place where actually they require the most rather. Yeah. Thank you, Rema.
Okay. इनका हाथ इतना लंबा हुआ है कि हमें डर लग रहा है. उनको दीजिए माइक अभी. You go ahead, speak. Okay.
सर, आपने जैसे देखा होगा कि मैं रुक गई थी, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि किसी पुरुष को दे दी गई कि आप बात कर सकते हैं, मैं नहीं. तो मैं उसी मुद्दे को थोड़ा सा रेस करना चाहती हूँ कि क्या ये जो हमारे एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स होंगे, वहाँ गर्ल्स फ्रेंडली वो होंगे, विमेन फ्रेंडली होंगे क्या? क्या वो इवन जो रोल मॉडल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं अभी हमारे, उसमें भी महिलाएं पब्लिक प्लेसेस पे क्लेम नहीं कर पाती, स्पेशली अगर आप रात की स्थिति देखें, तो क्या ये एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट विमेन एंड गर्ल्स फ्रेंडली और वो ऐसे होंगे कि पब्लिक प्लेसेस पे गर्ल्स और वुमेन स्पेशली रात में भी क्लेम कर पाएंगी?
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for asking this question. I think I would want to start with Soumitra, and there are 2-3 questions, right? One is that why you're trying to focus on aspirational district. There used to be backward district program even before, right? There has been always some or other program to focus in the backward region. What is special about aspirational district? And then I'll connect to this second last question as well, that there are many districts which is as bad. What will happen to those districts if you divert the entire attention to only these districts or the blocks? If you could share your thoughts about what is the framework which is unique, and here it is something called role model. What is role model? And you heard the Kandhamal question as well. वो बोल रहे हैं कुछ बदला नहीं है, इंडिकेटर लाल पीला तो बदल गया, but actual situation he is not feeling that has turned around. Soumitra.
So, a very good morning to all of you. I will also, apart from these questions, I will also like to answer his question as to the aspirational blocks, because I have been the director of the Aspirational Districts program since its launch, and I have been there since almost for a span of 3 years. अगर इंग्लिश में किसी को दिक्कत हो तो आई कैन स्पीक इन हिंदी एज वेल. मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं दोनों भाषा में आप लोगों को आंसर देता रहूं. देखिए, एक चीज़ समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स प्रोग्राम को क्यों लॉन्च किया गया और इसका स्ट्रक्चर, इसको क्यों आप रेप्लिकेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. तो इससे यू विल गेट मेनी ऑफ द आंसर्स एज टू वाई अ डिस्ट्रिक्ट लाइक अमरावती इज नॉट इन द एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स प्रोग्राम, और why the government is now trying to reach to the blocks, and why aspirational districts program has become a role model for collaboration, and why the corporate or the others should not only do as much work in these districts but also focus on other districts. See, why this program was launched, the main answer is that in order to reduce the regional imbalance. See, India saw an explosive growth due to structural changes in the economy, but the distribution of growth was not equal. It was unequal. वो जैसे हर डेवलपिंग कंट्री में होता है, there is a imbalance of growth, यहाँ पे भी वैसे ही हुआ. पहले भी गवर्नमेंट ने, अगर आप लोग थोड़ा सा आप लोग को बैकग्राउंड दे रहा हूँ इंडिया के हिस्ट्री का, so the initial, if you see the 5-year plans, so till the third 5-year plan, the focus was mainly on sectoral plans. The focus was had not reached, or the focus of the policy makers at that time was not on reducing the regional imbalance. From the 70s and 80s, basically, the policy makers thought about reducing or addressing the regional imbalance. तो कई सारे programs आए, integrated action plan आया था, फिर राष्ट्रीय सम विकास योजना आया अर्ली 2000 में, फिर बैकवर्ड रीजन ग्रांट फंड, इट हैड अ ह्यूज बजट आउटले, वो लॉन्च किया गया, एंड नॉट ओनली फॉर 100 वाज फॉर ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 250 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स. इस प्रोग्राम की खास बात ये थी कि अब तो आप में से काफ़ी लोग इसमें काम करते हैं, तो कन्वर्जेंस ऑफ स्कीम्स हमेशा से दूसरे प्रोग्राम्स में भी फोकस था, लेकिन इस प्रोग्राम में 2 खास बात ये थी कि पहले आप कंपैरिजन करते थे डेवलपमेंट का, इसमें कंपटीशन इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया गया. ये हमारे ऑनरेबल काफ़ी कुछ स्ट्रक्चर जो है ऑनरेबल पीएम का ही दिया हुआ था कि लेट अस आस्क द डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स टू कम्पीट बिटवीन देम. तो एक इम्पॉर्टेंट फीचर इस प्रोग्राम का जो कि इसको दूसरे प्रोग्राम से अलग करता है वो है कंपटीशन, और दूसरा बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट पिलर है वो है कोलैबोरेशन. देखिए, किसी भी प्रोग्राम में इतना एक्सटेंसिव कोलैबोरेशन कभी भी नहीं हुआ है. तो और आज एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स प्रोग्राम हैज बिकम अ रोल मॉडल फॉर कोलैबोरेशन. देयर आर मोर देन, टिल द टाइम आई वाज विथ नीति आयोग, आई रिकॉल दैट देयर वर अराउंड 30 to 35 big and small development partners who had who had joined hands with the government, and in almost all the aspirational districts, including Piramal, NSE Foundation, they have been one of our oldest partners since the program was launched. They are doing some outstanding work in these districts. Aspirational block पे हम क्यों अब फोकस कर रहे हैं? आप ये समझ लीजिए कि इस प्रोग्राम के सक्सेस को देखते हुए इसके स्ट्रक्चर को रेप्लिकेट कर रहे हैं. द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ कन्वर्जेंस, competition and collaboration. So that's why the focus, this also came from, because Honorable PM at his level, he has been driving the program. So his vision is that now these districts have more or less, they have progressed in these key performance indicators. All the districts have progressed. So it is better to now take this structure, replicate this structure to the blocks. Let us take them to the blocks. In fact, 12 दिन पहले ही भारत मंडपम में ऑनरेबल पीएम ने कहा था, while addressing 3,000 functionaries of the aspirational blocks program, that aspirational districts program will find its name in golden letters in the top 10 list of all government schemes launched since independence. In fact, other independent agencies like UNDP and all, they have really applauded the program. तो ब्लॉक पे पहुंचने का उद्देश्य ये था कि इसके स्ट्रक्चर को रेप्लिकेट किया जाए. अमरावती या जैसे कोई और भी, देयर आर मेनी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स, देयर कुड बी डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स विच आर इक्वलेंट टू एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स in terms of the key performance indicators. When these districts were shortlisted, so they were not done by the federal government, not by the central government. So central government had a committee consisting of officers from state government, from the district administrations. So we had asked the states to choose the districts, and Honorable PM wanted to give this as a national picture. इसीलिए हर state से at least एक district है. So if you see Kerala का Wayanad, that may be a district which is much higher than any other developed districts. But to have a national picture, we chose Wayanad from Kerala. So इसीलिए and as per the directives, we have requested the state governments to replicate the same structure to non-aspirational districts as well. So अब structure successful हो गया है, तो आप उसको दूसरे जगह में भी replicate कर सकते हैं. I'll take another 30 seconds. To your question, some of you had asked. देखिए, इसका मेन फोकस है रीजनल इम्बैलेंस को खत्म करना. इसका फोकस इज नॉट अ ग्रोथ इंजन. आप इसके प्रोग्राम के ऑब्जेक्टिव को समझ लीजिए. वी चोज पर्टिकुलर इंडिकेटर्स. इट इज नॉट दैट all indicators, entire growth, all infrastructure is involved in this. No, we chose particular indicators which were considered to be the most critical indicators. और उसमें भी there was extensive collaboration between the central government, the state government, the development partners who have been working. And lastly, this is a role model for collaboration because it has established itself as one of the best platforms to collaborate. The vertical collaborations have succeeded. The horizontal collaborations between the districts, with the development partners, between the various departments of a district.
So you laid out multiple points. So thank you so much. I think कंधमाल जैसे बोल रहे हैं कि बहुत सारे कुछ नहीं बदला है. But I think example these district जो कलेक्टर जाते थे यहाँ पे, वो बहुत जगह पे पनिशमेंट पोस्टिंग के जैसा होता था. ये रियलिटी है. नॉट जस्ट कलेक्टर बट ऑल्सो BDOs और TDOs. That had changed to large extent. There may be some example where it has not changed, but people wants to go. And there has been cases, if you performed well in these districts, ministers have picked up at the state and center level, right? Because you come in limelight and this conversation is happening. So I think the cultural change, I would say, within the administration has happened. And there are many examples, whether it is Badwani in MP or Yadgir in Karnataka, many have demonstrated particular indicators. Some has taken institutional delivery from 40 to 90. Some has taken immunization from 40 to 95. Those are becoming role model. Not everything in the district. I want to ask Rema, There are one question, and I want to dovetail with another one, is CSR to 1 साल का होता है, and there are a lot of compliant. But any of these problem, let's say if we want to reduce maternal mortality or infant mortality or anything, right, in education you want to improve learning outcome, these problems take years. It doesn't happen in 1 year. So why are you investing in these districts when you know that you will not be able to improve in 1 year?
So somebody has to invest somewhere, right? And all corporates can't end up investing in cities. There are enough people investing in cities. You know, Manmohan, it'll be interesting. There was a study that we did in Mumbai. Every municipal school had more than 100 NGOs working there. And after I don't know how many years, they were still saying they wanted assistance. So not many people were going to the backward districts. At that time it was backward district. This was in 2017. And I remember in October or so of 2017, we sort of did some analysis. And that was the time we got to know that the government was speaking about something called an Aspirational District program, which was nothing but of the initial list that you had, either the SEC distressed or the industrially backward or the backward district itself. They were trying to collate a list of districts with the help of the state, with the help of the states, of course, and trying to focus on that. So 2018 is when we completed our analysis of why we wanted to go to these districts, and we were very clear that somebody has to start somewhere, and we needed to go to and work in those places which really needed assistance. And for us, it's been really fulfilling because this has created a lot of models for us.
Why? Why would you take so much of pain? Why should you not work just around Mumbai? The highest investment in CSR is in Pune. You also become one of them. Why you are going to district where you will have to take pain from government को convince करो, अपने staff को convince करो, NGO को एकदम monitor नहीं कर पा रहे हो? Why you are doing that?
I think at that time the board members were quite erudite. They were invested in social and development work. They came with some background and understanding of development, and they were also very clear. So I think somewhere, also the conversations that I heard yesterday in various forums, that it's a board-led, it's an internal-led activity where the company also feels that these are spaces, these are places where investments need to be made, which you rightly articulated, that most of the investment is happening in Mumbai and 100 NGOs are working in a school. What is there for me to do? Right? And nobody wants to go to a backward district because it's simply too difficult to go there.
Yeah. Thank you. I think what I learned from this is, I think until and unless you have a focus in the board or the management team who really care for, improving lives of people, then you will find how to manage the, a lot of other things, right? I shouldn't say compliance. Compliance is important. But if we don't invest educating the board or CSR committees and actually help them understand the problem and how much, if you invest 1 rupee in this district versus in Pune or many other districts, you will get a lot more in return. So I think maybe you have been able to do that, and there are things which others can learn. I want to come to Chetna. Your businesses are not even in India, right? And why you would invest in also aspirational district? You are very close to the NCR, Nuh. Mewat was in news for wrong reason.
Yeah.
But why are you investing there?
As Manmohan rightly says, if you look at the profile of the company, which is Publicis Sapient, we are a digital business transformation company, very urban, very savvy. We don't have any business interests in India, but thankfully we earn a profit here and fall within the ambit of the law since the last 7-8 years. And are basically as a company, I think it's very culture driven, our choices. So one of the things which guides us in all our choices is our purpose, which is basically to help people thrive in the brave pursuit of next. And this aligns really well with CSR as well. So I was really happy to hear that purpose. One of the reasons I joined the company as well. And so drawing from that, when we realized that, okay, we have this fund of money, which we, have to do as per compliance, but we're not going to do it just as compliance. We'll do it in a thoughtful, mindful manner so that it has as much, transformational impact as possible and also has a bit of a multiplier effect. So when we were looking at areas to focus on, obviously in India, unfortunately, the areas, there's no, lack of the areas that need help. But when you look at, the geography of the country and you look at, the inequality, one of the things which stood out was that most of our people live in the rural areas. I had no knowledge of the Aspirational Districts program, I must admit. Of course, I knew about the Aspirational Districts, but we just thought that, okay, we need to focus in the rural areas, even though it has nothing to do with our, company agenda or core business or anything like that. Most of our people live in the rural areas. 50% of them depend on agriculture as a livelihood. And, aspirational districts, if you look at helping literally where the need is the greatest, it was just a kind of a natural, logical step to choose, aspirational districts. And then New, it was just a happy coincidence, was very close to Gurgaon. And we found a really good, partner there to work as well. So I'm mentioning all these spots because it's a lot of dots which connected up, all correctly, because lots of companies may want to work in the aspirational district, but you don't find a robust partner who can deliver on documentation, meet our compliance, help meet our compliance needs, and also implement. So it was a whole lot of those things which came through, and I must say that this program that we support called Gramoday in New District with SM Sehgal Foundation finds great resonance with our people. That's another thing that, really, really guides us, because most of our people, even in our company, around the 10,000 people we have, many of them have rural ties. And they understand, the situation on the ground, even though they've moved ahead from that. So some of those things is what, kind of guides us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I would request those who are sitting here from CSR or the whole idea as a panel, we are requesting that please think about these places, not just defined, but also undefined, whether aspirational blocks or districts. If we all come together, we'll improve lives of people. And I think it will not just give the satisfaction to the individual, but I think it will contribute to also nation building. In India, I think public sector enterprise plays a huge role, right? And Kiran has served whole life in one of them. Recently, there were 2 days, brainstorming session organized by Ministry of Finance through the Department of Public Enterprise, where all the CPSCs came together. You remember in the initial days, about 2018, I think Honorable Prime Minister requested that all the CPSCs should spend 60% of their CSR in these districts. That was an appeal. And said that, you invest in health and education, not in infrastructure, because infrastructure is very easy to invest. And we're just looking at one number we found, because number कई बार अलग-अलग आते हैं, कि यदि महारत्ना और नवरत्ना को मिलाएं लगभग 30 कंपनीज को, तो 4,000 करोड़ का CSR है. उसका यदि 60% आप लगाएंगे, तो हर एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट 112 में 21 करोड़ हर साल जाएगा. और यदि वो 21 करोड़ को इनोवेशन में यूज करें, एनी इनोवेटिव और माइक्रो इनोवेशन, जो आप राजस्थान से कह रहे थे कि बहुत नॉलेज है छोटे छोटे NGOs के समाज में, then I think we'll be able to improve a lot more. So therefore my question to you is, why CPSCs are not investing? What is the challenge? If you could articulate that so that we learn and therefore work on that.
Right. Well, if you look at aspirational districts, though there is a focus on collaborative development approach and there are agencies which are also supporting, the number of NGOs working to facilitate development and their capabilities, that becomes an issue. When it comes to PSU, though the government direction or the PM's suggestion was that we need to spend more on non-capital, the trend in the PSUs are to spend on the capital expend, because then it passes through audit very easily. You don't have an audit objection because PWD rates, whether it is central PWD or the state PWD, is what we look at and sanction the project. When it comes to operational, we do not know what is the driver salary for a mobile ambulance, what is to be paid to the doctor. It becomes questionable. So there is this risk aversion is one particular thing. Second thing is, if you look at the allocation of funds, though there is a direction from Public Enterprise Department to spend 60%, I think typically most of the PSUs spend about 6 to 8% of the fund CSR fund, mainly because they are also not sure in what projects to invest. Where the DCs are proactive and they are able to come out with defined projects, PSUs are willing to spend on those projects or invest in those places. The other reason is long-term perspective is lacking in PSUs generally, because you go year by year. You're not sure what is the profitability next year. You do not know what are the directions that will come from the government next year. So there are a lot of things which are not clear. The clarity lacks. And that leads you to, let me take 1 year ahead. Though the Act says the year of sanction till next 3 years you can spend CSR money, we end up looking at, okay, this year and overlapping next financial year. So I think these are some of the things which have an kind of hindrance to really invest into this.
Yeah, thank you. There was some question asked to me directly as well about why we are not directly funding the NGOs. There was one question there, right? I think वो तो normal practice है ही, right? If you just list down most of the CSR, 70-80% are giving to somebody to do something, right? What we learned is that money is not the problem. About, I think, 86,000 crore were not spent in 1 year, which was allocated by either central or state government across multiple schemes. There are mineral fund, there are border district fund, there are multiple fund which is not utilized inside government, right? किसके लिए पैसा है वो? वो तो जनता के लिए है. We got into, department are organized like domain, health, education, livelihood, women, ऐसा organized है. NGOs भी ऐसे ही हम organized हैं कि health है, education है, livelihood है ऐसे. But citizen ऐसे बटा हुआ नहीं है. यदि एक महिला है, राइट, मेरी माँ कभी स्कूल नहीं गई, मैं पैदाइशी एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हूँ और अभी फिर वहीं पे काम कर रहा हूँ, तो पता है मेरे गांव में क्या सिचुएशन है. वही एक महिला जो सफ़र कर रही है, राइट, कुछ हेल्थ इश्यूज से, उसको कोई हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट आता है, हेल्थ एनजीओ आता है, फिर कोई एडुकेशन वाला आता है कि अपने बेटी को स्कूल भेजो, जबकि वो बकरी चराने के लिए वो भेज रही है क्योंकि घर का सिचुएशन खराब है. कोई और आता है, वो लाइवलीहुड पे बात करता है, राइट? कहीं पे पैसा है, कहीं पे ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज हैं, बट वो यूटिलाइज नहीं हो रहा है. सो व्हाट वी लर्नड, राइट, विथ वेरी हार्ड वेज, that the last mile convergence is extremely important with multiple department at panchayat level. How do we enable that? Will we be able to quantify? And when I'm saying we, not just one organization at all. नहीं तो हमारा logo और ego कई बार change होता रहता है. It is not about our logo and ego, right? How can we enable last mile convergence? And जो आप कह रहे थे, we tried, जो छोटे छोटे NGOs हैं, imagine most of the technical solution required to solve health, education or any other sector is already done. शिक्षा कैसे बढ़ेगा, वो बहुत दुनिया में इनोवेशन हो चुका है. Around pedagogy, around teacher development, same in health, right? Malnutrition 250 डिस्ट्रिक्ट का देखोगे, पता है कैसे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं टेक्निकली, पर सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है. ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग इज क्रिटिकल, सबको पता है, बट नहीं हो रहा है. So our understanding is that behavioral change required in the community is extremely important, and unfortunately ownership नहीं है. कोई सरकार से जाएंगे बोलेंगे कम्युनिटी को इंगेज करना है, मतलब पावर किसके पास है? मैं यदि बोल रहा हूँ तो मेरे पास है. फिर कम्युनिटी को हम लाते हैं और हम फोटो खिंचा के बोलते हैं कम्युनिटी इंगेज्ड. या गवर्नमेंट का यदि मैं हूँ तो कम्युनिटी को साथ में जोड़ना है. तो पावर इज ऑलवेज ऑन अदर साइड, नॉट विद द कम्युनिटी. एंड इफ यू रीड Raghuram Rajan third pillar, I think we have left community behind. So what we are trying to do, right? 1200 लोकल एनजीओ, जो छोटे छोटे एनजीओज हैं, जो एक पंचायत में काम करते होंगे, वैसे 1200 एनजीओ एस्पिरेशनल भारत कोलैबोरेटिव से हमने जोड़ने की कोशिश की है. अटेम्प्ट क्या है कि आप सोचो, यदि कहीं पे फ्लड आता है तो वो जो एनजीओ हैं उनको जंगल, जमीन, जात, पानी, झगड़ा सब पता है उनको. यदि कोई गांव वाले की मौत हो रही है तो वो भी वहीं पे रहेंगे. यू एंड आई विल रन अवे. हु विल बी एबल टू चेंज बिहेवियर? यदि मदर को बोलना है कि खाना कैसे बनाना है, एंड इफ यू हैव टू चेंज द फूड पैटर्न, इट्स देम, नॉट मी, नॉट यू. सो आवर अटेम्प्ट, एंड पैसा देने से व्हाट हैपेंस, एज सून एज यू पुट मनी ऑन द टेबल, लेट्स से आप 500 करोड़ डाले, कुछ गोल लगाया, कुछ फ्रेमवर्क लगाया, टाइमलाइन लगाया, बांटने शुरू करो. जिस दिन वो खत्म, आप और मैं बाय बाय. These problems are not going to solve with these approaches. What we are attempting is purpose. सबका purpose है कि can we start talking with each other? And logo ego side में रख के can we have conversation? And then build that bottoms up. And our hope is if we are able to do that, there are enough good people with good purpose. They are working way beyond we can imagine. So what we are discussing in 2 days here, our attempt is, can these conversation of Sarkar Samaj Bazaar can happen at the panchayat level, block level, district level? That's our attempt. And we are hoping that these things, not just in the district, but also aspirational block. And somebody says, why not Amravati? Anywhere. There are many state, example, MP started 100 aspirational block, UP started 100 aspirational block. Rajasthan has done a lot of similar sort of thing. So idea is that how do you identify the problem and invest more there? I'll come back again. We have only 3 minutes left. If we have just 30 seconds. Do you have one advice for the CSR?
Yeah. Very small advice. What you said, I would like to add to that. See, one thing is important, that as to contribute in aspirational districts, it's not important to only infuse through funds. See, it is very clear. It was very clear directive of Honorable PM that aspirational districts program, we moved the needle from quantity of expenditure to quality of governance. So like what Piramal is doing, what Manmohan said, आप ऐसे भी collaborate कीजिए. It's not that you have to infuse funds. If you can infuse funds, nothing like that. But if you want to collaborate on an intellectual capacity, please do that. Please collaborate with the district, please collaborate with the government. There has been extensive collaborations, extensive best practices, and that's why this platform has established itself as a role model of collaboration.
Yeah. Thank you. Rema, do you have one advice for NGOs who are looking for a fund? Any advice so that they can get more fund from CSR?
I think some sort of I think some sort of work would be required by the NGO, in the sense that you need to study whom you are approaching. What is it that that corporate wants? You know, it's like matchmaking, right? Just going and meeting a corporate and saying, I'm doing this work is not the solution. You have to understand what their policy is, because no corporate is going to go beyond or out of their policy limits. They would have identified the sectors they want to work. They would have identified the geography that that they're interested to work in. You can also find out from a study of the annual, their statements and the annual reports and all that, how much is the quantum of funds that they have. So this 3 or 4 due diligence is a must. Next, you need to find out what is it that you want to do and why you want to do it. Do you want to go to a corporate for funds? Or is it that you have a vision which you want to translate on ground and you are seeking partners in that exercise? Yeah. So that is something somebody would need to do. Thirdly, understand that CSR money is available easily if you do certain due diligence exercises. It is not something that is very difficult to access. But you must remember, with corporate funding comes a huge amount of responsibility and documentation and reporting. So this is a must if you are going to work with a corporate. It's not that corporates are asking questions or something, but it's the onus of responsibility on the CSR head or the CSR officials to further report to the corporate how that money has been spent, and in turn to the shareholders, the CSR committees and the boards. So this is important.
Yeah.
I'll take some, about
Time
30
khatam ho
seconds,
raha hai.
Manmohan. Is that when you work in aspirational districts, and there are very few NGOs who are truly working in aspirational districts, it's very important. You have the grassroots connect. You know the local district administration. So at least make an effort to find out how you can leverage. It's not about taking funds and spending it.
Yeah.
But at least find out what are the existing schemes, what is it that you can work with, and how you can leverage the corporate or the funders' money and multiply that. So this is
Thank
a few
you.
suggestions. I think our NGO partners are more wise than us sitting on the podium.
Thank you. Thank you so much. What do you look for in NGO? Can you approve in 5 minutes some proposal? And if you can approve, then what will you look for?
No, so I can never approve a proposal in 5 minutes. I think the only thing one can do in 5 minutes is get a sense of, the passion the NGO has, a sense of, are they really, they have a vision, because as a company, we of course aspire to increase our profits every year. So we also like to partner with organizations that also have a vision and an aspiration to increase the scale of their impact. So that's one of the few
Passion
things.
and vision.
Yeah.
वो तो
But
होता है.
what do I...
वो तो NGO में भर के.
No, and then of course, beyond the 5 minutes, as Rema correctly said, all those points. But another thing that I'll add on to that is, co-creating a project design, particularly keeping in mind sustainability of that initiative beyond the end of the project. So if you look at our project, we have supported 50 villages with this initiative over the course of 7 years. Now, the reason we've been able to do it is because very smartly we have leveraged the government systems already existing. We've not really made big, huge capital expenditures, but actually enabled
So leverage. You're saying that are you able to leverage the existing
and also
resources?
involve the community in the development, because then when you leave that village, you have village leaders there, you have, field like agriculture sakhis there. So you leave a little legacy there which they own, and then they take it forward. Because many a times when it used to be in the past, we used to do these model villages, we used to, make a thing for them. If it used to fall into disrepair, the villagers would be chasing the company because they didn't feel a sense of belonging and ownership.
So passion, vision, leverage, and the community engagement.
And
that's what you're saying.
documentation and all what Rema said, of course, that's
Thank you.
basic
Kiran,
hygiene.
what would you advise to district administration so that they are able to give you a right proposal so that at least 20 crore every year goes to every district?
No, I think the district administration should look at identifying multiple funders for a same project, because typically each of the companies would want to fund for a year. So if they are looking at a long-term objective, the objective is defined, but the funders can keep changing. So that way what happens, the project doesn't suffer, and it is continuously, there is an engagement that happens. So I would say that do a project, long-term transformational vision, but look for multiple funders at the beginning of the project itself.
Correct. Thank you. I would again sort of try to share a few thoughts, is that these districts, aspirational district, aspirational block, and maybe you add more. I think India has 750 plus districts and about 6,000 plus blocks. I think I would request you, if you have not read, please read about these blocks and district. And if you can influence one person, right, to care about these districts, I think lot can be done. If you have already, been working in this district, please talk about the positive of this district, क्योंकि देश में बहुत सारे चीजें negative है. If we can share that and try to increase the investment, right? and create the positive environment, right, so that we are able to improve lives of people. Hopefully, Sarkar Samaj Bazaar can come together and have the conversation to take this district to the next level. So thank you everyone. Thanks for listening to us. Maybe most of the questions are addressed. If some are left, then you can catch hold of the speaker.